Is Wesley Ulloa. I'm the broker owner of Lux Properties. I manage 300 agents in Miami. I am here to teach you about crushing your competition at the listing table. So I am primarily, or have been in my career, a listing agent, and I'm going to teach you my tips and tricks to help you close 90% of the listings that you go on. So this is a little bit about what we're going to learn today. I have 4 main topics I'm going to be covering. How you should be handling the initial call, how to prep for your presentation, what to do at the presentation, and handling those objections and closing. This is a 2-hour class that I'm condensing down into 20 minutes for you guys, so I'm gonna go through it quickly, but I do have my information at the end, so you guys could reach out to me if you have any additional questions. I was born and raised in Miami. I actually have a master's in real estate, and I've been practicing for 14 years. A little fun fact about me, I do play the violin, and I am a dog mom to 2 rescue Cocker Spaniels, Cookie and Whiskey, who hopefully will not interrupt this. All right, so I know everybody wants to be pro listing agents. I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, you list, you last. There is no surprise when it comes to listing agents really thrive in this industry, because as a listing agent, you actually get buyers who come as a result of having these listings. So, you know, you really want to hone in and focus on this craft because it gives you a predictable business. Buyers are great, but listings can be very predictable, and it provides stability. Now, if you want to have a great listing presentation, how you handle that initial call is going to set the tone, right? There's certain things that you could do on that call that are going to help you get ready for that presentation and overcome those objections later. So these are my biggest tips that you guys should take away from today on what you should be doing on that call. First and foremost, your goal is to set an appointment. You are not going to get a listing on the phone. Even in today's day and age, right, where we're doing a lot of things virtually, you still want to set an appointment so you could have at least a virtual listing presentation, which I've already done a few of, or if they're willing to meet in person, you would want to meet in person, right? You're not going to get a listing on that initial call unless you've done business with this person in the past, or you know the property, right? So chances are you're not going to have that information. So your goal is to set an appointment. You need to discover why they want to sell. What is that push, right? That motivation, because that's going to tell you how serious they are. Things that I like to look for on that call for motivation are going to be my D's, right? Death, downsizing, debt, right? Diapers, things that make them want to move. Unfortunately, death is a big one, right? Because they have a loss of a loved one. Downsizing or debt if they're in some kind of financial trouble. Diapers, they need to upsize. What is their situation and what are their pain points, and how can I help them move from point A to point B, right? So where are they planning to go? That is another thing that's going to give you clues to motivation. It is also going to let you know if you're going to go ahead and maybe help them on the buy side and get another commission. Or if they're relocating to a new market, can you refer them to an agent over there and get a referral fee? So you definitely want to ask those questions. And don't be scared to ask questions. You know, we get in our own heads, but you are doing them a service by asking questions. It is your job to discover. And how are you going to help somebody if you're not asking them questions? You're just guessing. Then I would go into upgrades and condition, right? What have you done to the property? Can you tell me a little bit about your home? Why? Chances are individuals who have put money into their property think that they're going to get that money back dollar for dollar. It's also going to help me prep my CMA, which we're going to go over next, right? There's a high probability that you're answering this call and you don't know the house. Hopefully you know the area and it's your farm area, which should give you kind of an idea of value. But there's so many factors that go into the value of the home, right? So this is going to help me hone in on that. I want to also get the client's idea of value. every single client already has an idea of the value of their home in their mind, right? This is their most valuable asset. They've gone on Zillow, they've gone on Realtor, any of these other websites, Realtor.com, any website. They've asked their mortgage lenders. They know how much they paid for it. They know what their neighbors are selling for. Now, some savvy sellers are not going to tell you that number, so you need to thrive, or you need to push for that, right? So you want to get the client's idea of value. Why? It's going to help you at that listing table as well, and it's going to help you overcome that objections. A lot of owners think their home is worth more than what it is. So you want to get to see where they're at. Also, on that initial call, if we're too far apart, I won't go to that listing appointment. My time is money. I want to make sure that this person is serious. Now, big no's on this call. Please do not give them what your idea of value is, right? All you're doing is giving them no reason to call you back. And what I like to tell people is, if you, how much do you think my home is worth? Well, Maria, I would need to see your property because there's so many factors that go into pricing a home, including condition, layout, the way that your home is in the neighborhood compares to the other ones. So I need to set an appointment with you so I could view it. I will be doing you a disservice if I gave you a value on the phone without taking into account what makes your home special. When are you available? So you never want to give them that value. In fact, you want to push them for their value. And you could even close it with, well, what do you think your home is worth? So you could turn it around on them. But these are really important things that you need to get on this call so you could get that appointment and get what they think their home is worth, all right? So those are your big things on this call. Once you master the call, or you get that, then you're gonna be going into your prep phase, right? So your prep phase, if you're not prepared for your presentation, you're not gonna be able to overcome those objections. So these are certain things that you need to do in order to be ready. There's 4 R's to sales. If you guys don't know them, you got to be relentless, you got to be ready, you got to be resourceful, and you got to be remembered, right? So all of those 4, you guys need to be applying them in your business days in and days out. So what you need to do to prep, obviously to get ready, first thing that I would do is I would look up the property on the MLS and look up the MLS history. Is there any pictures of the property? Is there any notes on the property from previous agents that I could use to help me come to a conclusion of value and get ready for this presentation? I will also Google Earth the outside of the house or the area. If I am not familiar with the area, I might drive by the area or call other agents who have closed properties in the area to get a better understanding of the value. You need to prep a CMA, right? There's many different methods that you can make a CMA, but your CMA should have at least 3 closed sales, 3 pending sales, 3 active sales. I like to come with a low, medium, and high price, right? And refine it once I see the property. But you need to have a nicely done report showing that value, right? And showing them the other houses in the area. I also send a pre-listing email before I actually go to the listing presentation, outlining all my services that I offer. So everything that I offer service-wise, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to presentation, my level of service when I show up, and I'm gonna show them my listings, giving them my commitment as to why they should choose me over somebody else, right? And I never say that explicitly, but I infer it all the time. This is everything that I do to get the job done. You wanna have your marketing materials ready. I created a nice little home selling guide that is my actual presentation. I also bring sample direct mails, anything else that is gonna show value. Sometimes I even make a website of their home before I go to the listing. And you also wanna check how much is owed on the property, because you wanna know how much room you have to negotiate, or how much room you have from what you think the value is to what they owe, right? If there's an issue and I think they owe more than what the property is worth, I might call them and I might have a little bit of a discussion with them on the phone to get a feel for their situation if they haven't mentioned anything already. Now I'm talking about owed, not what they paid for it, okay? So there's a big difference, because sometimes you have people that have it free and clear. I'm not that concerned if it's free and clear. I'm much more concerned if there's a mortgage on it. And you always wanna make sure any and all decision makers are present if you're gonna be going to that appointment, all right? So now let's go on to Your presentation. So you did your call, you got ready to go. Now we're at the actual presentation. This is what I do. Of course, always drive the area before if you don't know it, and if you haven't done so already, arrive on time. They are looking at you and they are judging you. When I go to a presentation, I always tour the home first. So I am gonna go around the property with the owner so I can build rapport with them. I'm gonna take note of anything that they did to the property. I'm gonna ask them questions, right? I am never scared to ask questions. I actually think that that's a sign of being a leader, right? Being able to be comfortable with that so you could get a better understanding. So you need to ask questions. I'm gonna go through the entire house with them, and then I'm gonna be using that time to refine my pricing. Remember, I just mentioned I have a low, a medium, and a high price. If I walk in the door and the place is pretty bad, I'm gonna go towards my low price. Now, if I walk in the door and the place is bad, you're not gonna see it on my face. I'm a professional. And this is the way that these individuals live day in and day out. So you have to be understanding of their situation. If I walk in the property and it's beautiful, I'm probably still not gonna show too much expression either, right? I am a professional, but I'm gonna know if it's gonna be at my high or my low or my medium, and I'm gonna refine that before I sit down with them, all right? Once I sit down with them, I'm gonna find a comfortable place to sit in the house. It could be the dining room, it could be the living room, and those are my preferred choices. Some people like to go to the backyard, and some people like to pick somewhere different so they remember. You need to find what works for you, and that's something that you should all hone in. I know of other agents that make the sellers sit down in the dining room or the living room while they tour the house. I don't do that. That's a power move. I'm trying to build rapport with this individual. I'm trying to bring down walls. So I try to make people feel as comfortable as possible, right? I want them to be open with me. So I don't need to show them that, I run the show here, because my marketing does that for it myself. My level of commitment, my expertise shows them all of that stuff, right? I want them to feel comfortable that I'm going to get the job done. Once I go sit down, let's say we're at the dining room table, right? The next thing that I'm gonna go is I'm gonna ask them first if they saw my pre-listing email. My goal is to make the meeting, I don't wanna say concise, but I wanna make it as efficient as possible. So if they already saw my email, I don't need to spend as much time going over this, right? I'm also showing them I'm diligent and I respect their time. Now, if they didn't see my email, that's okay too, right? Because then it's showing them that they need to choose me as their agent because they don't even have time to read the email, right? So I'm just setting the tone. There was a lot of background noise there, sorry. So I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna go over all of my marketing. I created a nice little guide, which you guys should do something similar, and I go page by page. For this class, I don't probably have enough time to go page by page because my actual listing presentation with an owner is about an hour. So I average from touring, sitting down, going over marketing and Q&A with them about an hour. But I do touch on one important thing that I do want to mention to you guys, right? And that's my goals with working with them. So my goals when working with any seller is, my goal is to get the highest price possible in the shortest amount of time with the least hassle. I'm gonna just zoom in that for a second. I hope you guys could see it. I know you see my actual PowerPoint, but psychologically, that's what every seller wants. The most money possible in the shortest amount of time with the least hassle. But each seller wants one of those more importantly than the other. Each seller has a driver, right? Some people are price driven, but some people need to sell quick, right? So you need to determine which one is driving them. That person that needs to sell quick might be losing their home. They might have lost their job. They might need to move somewhere else. You do not need to go there with the highest list price to get that listing, right? You're worried about somebody else saying that they could sell it for more. No, you need to communicate that you could do what they need, right? And then you need to explain to them and show them data that says, listen, if you want to sell for X price, it's gonna be 6 months on the market. If you wanna sell for, you need to sell in 2 months, we need to come below that price, and you need to show them why. Some other sellers they need to sell with the least hassle. Those are going to be individuals that might have health issues, people with cancer, people who have lost a loved one. Those are the people that emotionally don't want to deal with it. They're not going to be price driven either. You need to be able to analyze which one that client needs and which one is the most important. Now, just because they want one more than the other doesn't mean that they don't care about price. It is just not the major motivating factor. So you need to analyze that, right? And then hopefully while you're going over your presentation and showing them everything that you do, I hope you guys are leveraging video, Matterport, pay-per-click ads, websites of the property, all of these different things, right? And creative marketing tactics, because that's really what I also specialize in when I go to that listing presentation. But I really, really hone in on showing this individual that everything I do is gonna relate back to getting them the highest price possible in the shortest amount of time with the least hassle. If it does not relate to one of those three things, I do not speak about it at my presentation, okay? I don't do fluff, I'm very direct and I'm very straightforward and I'm here to get the job done. From there, you're gonna present pricing, right? So you're gonna go into your CMA, then, you're gonna do your marketing, you're gonna go into your CMA. I typically use what I call bracketing, which I go property by property and I compare their home to the ones that have sold, right? And I get them in a yes mind frame, right? Because I literally compare, do you think this home is better than yours? Do you think your home is superior, right? And I bracket them to the price that I want. So I'm gonna sit there and get them to the price that I want. I also, every single time I'm comparing one by one, if you didn't put good pictures on that listing and your house didn't sell as quickly as other ones in the neighborhood, or your house sold for less, which you can quantify, I am showing them, listen, look at this one. This one took forever to sell. This is directly because of these pictures. Look, they didn't pay any attention to marketing this house. So I use that against you guys. So guys, make sure you guys are putting really good pictures. You know, that is your presentation. That is your resume. Own in, your sellers deserve the best level of service and marketing. So own in on that, right? Make sure that you have that for your clients. That should be the bar, and there should never be anything below that. So I'm gonna get them to the price that I want by them agreeing with the pricing, right? And going one by one. So if they still just don't disagree with me when I give them my recommended price, there's something wrong there, right? Because they just agreed with everything else that I said. Once I do that, I go over, so to get your property on the market, we need to get a listing agreement signed. We do 6 months, 12 months, depends on the price. The higher the price point, the longer the time period. And I also look at data to make my decisions. If the average days on market in the area is a year, my listing agreement is gonna be for over a year. If the average days on market is 90 to 120 days, I should be selling this in 6 months. If I'm not doing that, something's wrong. The market shifted or I'm not doing my job, right? So those are the things that I look at. I cover commission last. I expect a 6%. If you do a good presentation, they will pay 6%. I'm gonna go over a few objections in a second, but there's so many presentations that I go on that they don't even question my commission rate. It is expected, and I provide value. This is all, I do so many things in addition to putting it on the MLS that's why you should pick me. Not only, yes, you're gonna pay the standard, but you're gonna get tons of value when you choose me. I am not a discount broker. You need to focus on listening to them, right? A lot of agents are always worried about what am I gonna say and the magic words. Clients are gonna tell you everything you need to know, right? You're just not spending enough time listening. So you really gotta hone in on listening to these individuals, because they're gonna tell you why they need to sell. They're gonna tell you their motivations. They're gonna communicate and ask certain questions. So listen to them, because they're gonna tell you what you need to know. Don't worry about saying magic words. Yes, at the beginning, you might not have all the experience. I'm telling you, my first listing presentations were terrible. I've been doing this for 14 years now, and I just perfected and I add into it. My first sample book like this was terrible, right? But you get better and you add stuff and you progress. So always focus on progress over perfection. Okay, so you did everything you're supposed to do, but you still have objections, right? You're gonna have objections. That's part of it. Obviously, if you're making these individuals feel comfortable, you're gonna have less objections, and if you have a good structured presentation, but that doesn't mean that they won't still have some. So what's a big one? I don't wanna pay 4% commission, or I don't wanna pay 6% commission. I've closed a bunch of listings at 6% commission that they've told me on that initial call that I'm not paying 6% commission, right? Once they hear everything that I do, they don't even question it. Now, if somebody says, oh, my friend's gonna list it for 4%, I'm gonna tell them something like this. Well, that's wonderful, and you know, I understand, but I'm sure as your friend, is she gonna spend thousands of dollars on marketing your home, helping you get the same price, the highest price possible? You know, I don't know how she's gonna be able to do that, because that is my marketing budget that I don't have any guarantee that I'm gonna get back. I need to make sure that I sell your house, putting us on the same team. Also, if she's so quick to negotiate her commission, is she gonna be doing the same thing when an offer comes in? How is she gonna help you get the highest price possible if she can't even negotiate, right? Don't shortchange yourself. Will you list it for 3 months? I go into the same thing. I'm gonna be investing thousands of dollars marketing your home. I need at least this long of a commitment. For number one, I'm investing that money. We're now partners. Number two, the average time frame to sell properties in your area is 150 days. I would not be a great agent if I was wasting thousands of dollars on listing agreements that aren't even in the time frame that the property sells. I'm interviewing other agents, right? So ideally, right, first and foremost, you should know that on the initial call. Hopefully you figure that out. You want to be that first person in there, at least in my opinion. I'm very confident in my abilities. I just signed a listing that 3 other people went up against me and I closed it. So if I'm going to sit down with that person, there's a very high likelihood that I'm going to get that listing. If at the listing table, they're telling me they're interviewing other agents, number one, I never ask who they're interviewing because I don't care. Right? I am confident in my abilities. I tell them, you know what? That's a great idea. That's very smart. This is your most valuable asset. Just do me a favor. Give them some homework. Do me a favor. Once you're all done with everybody, make sure you look up everybody and look up their track records of sales, because that is going to speak for itself, right? So I might tell them that, depends on how it goes, but that's something that I might do, give them a little level of homework. Other things that I like to do if I don't get at that table. Can I start marketing your home already, right? I have other buyers in the area, can I start marketing your home? I want them to say yes, because then it's a very likelihood that they're gonna give me that listing. Some people might say, I want to buy another house first, right? I would recommend going into how important it is for you to get the property on the market, because you're gonna be at a disadvantage when you're presenting offers. That one's a little bit more, sometimes people haven't even seen anything that's out there on the market. So sometimes I might send them other options, but I actually bring my computer when I go to a listing presentation, guys, as a backup. So at that moment, I'm gonna pull out my MLS, I'm gonna be resourceful, and I'm gonna go through properties with them. And I'm gonna get them in that mind frame. I do not want my clients moving. Like my clients, I want the best thing for them. If they can't find a property and a suitable replacement property, I don't want my clients moving. I want them to find what they want. So I'm gonna be that consultant and that advisor. It's not just about signing a listing agreement or getting a sale, right? It's about helping them find the right property or make the right move. So think about those things. I wanna price my property for more, right? So I want more money. Now, within reason. In this market, I probably am not going to be going over my price points. You need to determine in your level of, I don't want to say experience, but in your business where you're at right now, if you want to take over price listings. If they're way too out of line, I would not take that listing. So that's something that I wouldn't be doing. You need to decide. But sometimes I work with them and I say, as long as you let me reduce the property in 30 days, then yes, we will go ahead and do that. We can list it at a higher price, and I'm gonna put that in my listing agreement, because I wanna show them, look, I'm willing to test the market. I'm willing to help you get the highest price possible, but you need to work with me after 30 days. If it hasn't sold, we're gonna drop to my number. Finally, if you don't get the listing, Follow up weekly. Before I jumped on this call, I have a listing seller, I'm sorry, that I've been nurturing for 6 months, and he called me today because I keep following up. Come to my house next Tuesday and bring me an agreement. You might not always get them at that moment because they might not be ready, but continuously follow up. I'm gonna call you until you tell me no or leave me alone. If they don't want to list with you, ask for feedback how you can improve. Why did you choose another agent, right? I got a listing presentation the other day and a listing from somebody that I just asked that question. By me showing how much I care about improving my services, I brought them back in, right? I never even met with them and they're like, no, we're gonna interview somebody else. And I was able to bring them back in. If they do decide to list with somebody else, track the property on Remind, on the MLS, and track it until it expires, because you know what? You might be able to get it down the road. So I hope you guys enjoyed my talk. Got that done in 29 minutes with a minute to spare. But here's my information. Call me if you need any other help, if you got any other questions. Thank you so much.
Wesley, we have one question. Can you repeat those 4 R's?
Oh yeah, be ready, be resourceful, be relentless, be remembered. You could say, I think I said it in a different order the first time. I was close with remembered.
What are some things used to justify the 6%?
My pictures, my video, my websites, my email blast, I have a page that is this long, and I have about, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I do 18 different things off the top of my back and my listing presentation that I do. But most of them is the pretty pictures marketing website of the property. Matterport too.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, and have a great day.
No problem. You guys too. Bye.